So today is a little bit of an interesting show. A little sort of kitty wampus because I started off my LinkedIn Live where I always repurpose my podcast from and discovered after about 10, 15 minutes into the live that my microphone had been turned off. So it was just like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? But stuff happens. And that's really the message of life. Stuff is going to happen and you have to learn to roll with it. So I could have just, smashed all my toys and gone home and had a little bit of a hissy fit. Believe me, I felt like it at the time. But you just have to say, you know what? Eh, it is what it is and roll with it. So I decided I would just back up, start again, and finish my podcast, finish my live. So here we go. I will play it from the part where I actually started to talk. You don't have to listen to 15 minutes of silence. And there we go. Stuff happens. And again, that is the message of the day. We just need to roll with how things work out. So we're talking about Daniel Hall. We're talking about his book today. I'm going to quickly recap what I started saying, and then we'll just go with it. So thank you, Jeff, for letting me know. First of all, let me go back in time. Who is Daniel Hall? And why am I talking by myself today? So Daniel Hall had a family emergency. He had to go take care of some stuff. And I always believe in family first. So I said, Daniel, just go off and take care of that. And we'll figure out, how to do this another time. But anyways, I decided I would just hop in here and I would still talk about his book. I'm talking about his book today, which is the top 100 list of lies on social media. This is a fabulous book in that it talks about something that's very important on LinkedIn, which is the pod experience. And pods are getting in a dodgy group of people where what you do is you go and you have this agreement that you're going to comment on each other's posts. And usually you're in a group with strangers. And the dangers to this is that you're putting your own reputation on the line because you're getting fake engagement. These are not people that really are actually fans of your post. They don't necessarily care about your post. They're just doing it because it's an obligation. It's a real tit for tat experience. And Daniel knows the science behind how these pods work because he has an extensive background in software development. He has over 40 years of experience and just knows how these things work. They're not a good thing to do. I highly recommend go reading this book and being educated on what pods are and how they can damage your reputation. And also too, there's automated pods, there's manual pods. Automated pods are actually even worse because now you've got AI commenting on your behalf. And so many dangerous things can happen when you're in a pod. One of which is that your credentials, your LinkedIn login credentials can be actually, it's a digital, it's called, I think, a digital certificate. And it can actually go in and people could figure out, your passwords and get in and hijack your account. So many dangerous things can happen with pods. I cannot do this justice. That's why I recommend you read the book. So what I wanted to talk about today, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my banner again, is I wanted to talk about strategic book publishing in the digital world and multi-format strategies. And this is what I really thought that Daniel did a great job with on his book, because what he does is he capitalizes on multiple things. So I started off with talking about he had multiple authors. And this is truly an example of it takes a village sometimes to write a book. And in this instance, Daniel actually had multiple authors help him. So we had Mick Adam, we have Sherry Berg, who have both written a chapter and were involved with the editing of this book. And so he again taxed other people to come and help him write the book. But Daniel didn't stop there. What he also did was he got multiple people to write a foreword to this book. And what that means is that when you write a foreword to a book, you're actually it's bigger than a review. You're endorsing the importance of the book, and you're basically stating your reputation on what this book is about. So if you are ever asked to write a foreword, you have to be in alignment with what the book is and what that message is, because now you are forever tied to it. And to get one person to write a foreword for your book is amazing. I've only done one myself. I did it for Jeff Young's book because I highly recommend Jeff's book, and I wanted to actually, shed some light on how he is and the value of that book. So to have one person do a foreword for you is amazing. To have 10 people is like mind blowing. So I think it's amazing that 10 people raised their hand and said, "Yes, Daniel, I'm with you. I want to write an endorsement for this book." And I know 3 people personally. One would be Kevin D. Turner, John Asperian, and Lanier Johnston. And all 3 of them would stake their reputation because they so believe in what Daniel does. And I think they've been fans of his newsletter, Spotapod. They're colleagues with him. They know Daniel. They know what he's talking about is real and honest and has integrity. So, anyways, having multiple forewords was another great thing that Daniel did. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was how he used multiple formats for his book. So Daniel has dyslexia, and I'm not talking out of turn because I know he's totally okay about talking that he has dyslexia. And he says that when he first started kind of looking at the book in the editing stage, because he's not a print person, he doesn't like reading books because of his dyslexia. He was not happy with it and decided that he wanted to actually have an audio version of the book. And when he did that, he could hear it. And that was the best way for him to consume content. And so he actually used a program that I'm now familiar with. I just actually learned about it a couple of days, and it's called Hedra. And Hedra does amazing things with AI. And so Daniel was able to take the chapters and upload them to Hedra, choose the voice, and has the narration done using AI. And it doesn't sound like AI at all. It sounds like, quite theatrical. And then he even added in music. And so you can kind of hear music when you kind of go and you finish one chapter and you go to the next one. And I think it just keeps you engaged. The music is a nice touch. So he did a really, really good job of making this book consumable for somebody who doesn't necessarily want to pick up and read a book. So I thought that was quite brilliant. In addition to audio, he did a paperback version, a hardback version, and an ebook version. So again, Daniel is addressing that we all like to consume our content differently. And I'll be the first person to raise my hand and say, I have not taken advantage of audio books yet, only because I thought my books needed to be me. I thought if I'm going to do an audio version of my book, it needs to be Jillian, and I don't have a studio that I can create a book in. Maybe I could go in the closet, put a blanket over my head and record that, and maybe it would come out well. But then there's editing, and there's a lot that goes into audio. So it's kind of something that's like on my list one day to do, but not today, not today. So anyways, audio book, I think that's brilliant. The idea of using AI is amazing. I didn't know Hedra was an option. I used it to make one of those silly baby videos where I took a picture and an audio, and I asked Hedra, put it together and make a cute little talking baby video for me, which it did, and it was pretty fun. So that's kind of a cool source. I had heard of 11 Labs. That's another one where you can do AI narration. So anyways, the idea of having multiple formats for your audience for your book is a brilliant idea. Okay, so in addition to that, now I'm going to go back to the comments and pick up where I left off. And again, thank you, Jeff, for letting me know. Okay, So let's see. Okay, no sound, no sound, no sound. We love your enthusiasm, though. Still can't hear you. People are trying to lip read. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Hopefully the sound is coming through now. It's coming through now. And okay, let's see. Everybody says I look great, still no sound. Hopefully, everybody can hear me now. Oh, yes, they're saying, yes, we hear you now. So, okay, good, good. We've moved along. We've moved along. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in with me today. When things happen, you just have to roll with it. Okay, so yes, overdub, fix it in the edit. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. So in addition to actually, did I showed these on screens. We have our whoops moment, and we're talking about Jeff's book. We're talking about everybody's liking Daniel's book, so that's good to know. And multiple formats, never seen that before. Me neither. And by the way, just so that you know, you don't pay people to do forewords. Forewords are something that people do for free. So it's a big ask. If you go ask somebody to do, you know, give me a forward for my book, you're asking them to now go read your book. And so most people don't want to do a forward unless they read the book, because otherwise you don't really know what you're being associated with. So really, if you're thinking about asking people to do forwards, really think carefully and be ready to give them an advanced reader copy. Maybe it doesn't have to be completely finished. Maybe it can be like, before it goes to the proofreader or something like that. But it's a big ask. It's a big ask to do those forwards. Okay. Never heard of Hedra. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's a tool I just came across the other day. Interesting. You can use Hedra on the free plan. Limited on what you can do, and you're going to get the watermark and all that sort of jazz. But I think it's great when companies have these options and we can kind of at least go out and test them and see if they're any good for us. So that's good. And yes, and the forewords are on the audio versions as well. So that's nice to know. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is Daniel also decided to take advantage of multiple distribution. Now, I am a person that usually says, if you're going to do your first book, go narrow, go with Amazon. Amazon is the biggest bookseller out there. And that's what I recommend for first-time authors, especially if you don't want to have to start investing in your own ISBN numbers and all those different things. But Daniel decided he's going to go wide, and he went wide and used, I don't actually know who he used for, getting his book published and distributed. But I can tell you that Daniel is using something called books2read.com. And if you actually go to this link, books2read.com/top100, you'll actually see Daniel's book. And it's very difficult for me on a laptop to just do screen sharing during a live. So I'm not even going to try doing that. But if you go there, you will see Daniel's book and then all the options that are available, that you can do an audio, you can do the ebook, you can do the paperback, you can do the hardback. And then it shows all the different stores. So for instance, with the audio, I think he's got 7 different places you can get the audio. There was 12 different places, 12 different stores that you can get the ebook from. And some of them are free. Like some of them are free. So that's kind of cool to know. I think if you go to Spotify, I think it's like Smashwords, you might be able to get the ebook for free. If you go to the audio version, I thought it was really cool that he has Hoopla. And for anybody who's a library nut like me, you know that you can use Hoopla to listen to digital books, audio books for free. And anybody who has a public library card, you probably have access to Hoopla. I use it all the time. I listen to the most recent books that are out there. A lot of my fiction reading, I listen to, especially because I'm always driving. So we're always traveling. So I love Hoopla. And Hoopla allows you to get your book into libraries. So you think about it, it's like I have a Las Vegas library card. That is how I access Hoopla. So it's just really cool that you can do that. So you just need the one link with books to read, and you can show all your different books and all the different places that your book is available. And this is totally a free service. So, this is a really, really cool thing. So, I just wanted to tell everybody about that multiple distribution. If you can give out one link and then other people can use that link and go to it and say, oh, I want the paperback. I want the hardback. I want the audio. Oh, I'd rather get it from Kobo or, Hoopla, or I'd like to go to Amazon, or I'd like to go to, Barnes and Noble and buy it. You're not locking people into one place, and who would want to give, 20 links to people? So I think this is a cool thing. Check out Books to Read. If you're an author, it's a great way. Even if you only just have Amazon, it's still a really cool way to show that you have your book in, paperback and ebook and that sort of thing. So, anyways, and that's pretty much it. We've talked about multiple authors, we've talked about multiple formats, we've talked about multiple distribution, and basically, the thing I want to end on today with Daniel's book is that your reputation matters. And I think this is the key that authors should take away, is that you can't get the Disneyland fast pass to getting all the visibility and being, viral on LinkedIn or even on Amazon in your reviews and stuff. You want to do everything with integrity, because at the end of the day, people have to be able to trust you. We always talk about in marketing, you want people to know, like, and trust you. You start doing, pods and things like this, that's not going to build trust. It's going to ruin your reputation. And you know what? The day you leave a pod, you may think, oh, doing a pod's great. It's going to give me all this visibility, even though there's so many dangers with being in a pod. But the minute you walk out and leave a pod, boom, you're going to crash. And so the thing is, do your marketing with integrity and honesty so that people can trust you. Make sure you have the reputation that will be carried on. And there was one quote in the book. It's right at the beginning of the book, and it's by Russell Crowe from The Gladiator. And I love that movie. That's a great movie. And I love this quote because I think it really sums up Daniel's book. So it says, what we do in life echoes through all eternity. And I thought, that is so true. It's like you just want to make sure that your digital footprint is honest and has integrity, and that you always have a good reputation, because you just don't get a second chance to make that first impression. And one other thing I'd like to add is that I'd like to give a special thank you and shout out to all the wonderful people in my audience today that took the time to try and communicate to me that I was on mute. People left comments and, were furiously typing in the comments, we can't hear you, your mic is mute. I got text messages, I got WhatsApp messages, I got a phone call in the middle of the live. But of course, I'm not going to go and look at all this stuff while I was going live, because there's just so much limitation on what we can do. At least with me, I have a limited bandwidth with my brain, but I just wanted to do that extra shout out. And I think, to me, that really is the lesson of the day, is that people cheer us on. People are not sitting there waiting for us to fail. We feel that sometimes, but instead realize that you have all these angels who are your cheerleaders, who are there for you, have your back. And to me, thank you. Okay, that's it. Over for me today. And take care, everyone. And we'll see you back next week.